Hello and welcome to MotorInc First. It's time for us to go grr, grr again.
Like the cool song that is everywhere on Instagram. That
Oh
grr,
my god, he
or
is
the,
too much in
or-
tune with
or-
what's happening
or-
with Instagram. It actually freaks me out.
or the grr that goes, oh, come on. Grr. Why couldn't they make a better bike? Which one is it, Karthik?
Oh, you tell us which one is it.
This story goes upwards. I like it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay, context. The Guerrilla 450 came out roughly last year. It's a street naked, in theory, Royal Enfield sportiest motorcycle because it has 40 bhp, 40 Newton meters of torque, reasonably fast motorcycle, but it's based on the Himalayan frame. So it's also a long and heavy motorcycle. And they made a go of it, I'm going to say. Okay. To me, upshot of the previous Guerrilla, went quickly, yes. Felt torquey, yes. Some refinement issues. Himalayan also has them, yes. Suspension felt a little bit on the stiff side. And the throttle was a little bit herky-jerky, especially off the bottom. So you couldn't always exactly predict what the bike was going to do. But when you got out on the highway, you realized that that was sort of built into the nature of the bike. So it just never settled down. So if you were saying, I'm going to ride this fast, you're going to have a good time because this is an entertaining motorcycle, not a great motorcycle. I'll give you another example. Most MV Agustas are entertaining in exactly this way. You cannot settle down on an MV Agusta. So you will either interpret as, oh my God, I'm so tired of this motorcycle, or wow, this is such a characterful, alive, energetic motorcycle. I like it. The other big issue we had is we got the Guerrilla during the rains, and in the wet, that scrambler looking tire, it just didn't seem to give you any feedback, didn't seem to give you any grip. And it was really unsettling how glassy the roads would feel when you were riding that motorcycle. Royal Enfields basically attacked all of this, and they've attacked it in the cleverest way possible, because now the Guerrilla has two variants.
Can I first set context?
Please.
Because I was really looking forward to the Guerrilla when that whole idea came about, because it started with the Himalayan. Because when we rode the Himalayan, we said this frame and with this engine, we could have a proper, authentic Duke rival.
In theory.
Yeah. And that's why our hopes were really high with the Guerrilla. And while it does all of this, and you could say that in many ways the KTM is also raw and not really polished, but where it really matters, like handling or whatever, it's super strong. And so the Guerrilla felt a little bit flat because we knew what that chassis does on the Himalayan, but somehow it did not happen on the lighter, tighter motorcycle. It didn't get better in that sense of the emotion of it. And to me, that was a bit. I mean, it's a very stylish looking bike and all of that, but it did. I expected to feel more special.
I fully agree with you, and I think part of the reason is the Himalayan frame. What the Guerrilla needs is its own frame, and then it would really come into its own.
Okay.
Every time I ride this motorcycle on a twisty road, I keep feeling like, man, if this was a shorter, more compact motorcycle, not necessarily lighter motorcycle. If this was a shorter, more compact motorcycle, oh, this would be so good.
Yeah. Okay, so the one thing I've gleaned from your start itself is this is not the Guerrilla 350.
No.
We are still on the 450.
Royal Enfield is, as far as I can tell, officially uncommitted to the idea of does this 450 need to become a 350. They haven't said a word about it in any form of fashion.
Okay.
A. B. Their bread and butters are already 350. So Royal Enfield is probably the only organization in the entire group of manufacturers who can literally sit back, relax, enjoy the flight, and then let the fight come to them, and at some point say, you know what, okay, fine, let's make a 350 version of this Sherpa. They don't have to.
Okay.
Right? Now, back to the Guerrilla. So what has happened, most importantly, is now the Guerrilla is split into two.
Okay.
So there is the Guerrilla that you're used to, and now there is the Guerrilla 450 Apex, which is the motorcycle I rode, which are the pictures that you're seeing. Now, visually, the Apex is just a bunch of GMA parts, GMA being their Royal Enfield accessory line. So you have a fly screen, you have a rear seat cowl.
Okay.
And you have some new colors. I'll try and put pictures of all the new colors so that you guys can see it. The bike I rode is the base Apex, which is an all red motorcycle, and it looks good. It looks good in a traditionally British, triumphy, sporty sort of way.
Dude, this story is not starting at a good place, man.
No, I'm getting all of this out of the way because you know what I did? We rode from Guwahati to Umiam Lake, which is just short of Shillong. And bro, that road was designed for a motorcycle like the Guerrilla to shine.
Okay.
But it has no real sharp curves. It has no major elevation changes. And the Guerrilla can now take its length and flow and flow and flow and
No, because you
flow.
said it's just accessories, so that's why I was wondering, like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. So visually, I'm saying visually.
Okay.
Visually, when you will see this red fly screen. He can't see it, obviously, he doesn't have the picture reference. There's a red fly screen, there is a red seat cowl. These are available in the accessory lineup. If you have a Guerrilla today, in theory, you could make it look like the Apex whenever you feel like.
Okay.
1. 2, they've put a lower handlebar. If I remember correctly, it's 60 mm lower and 60 mm forward.
Okay.
So you sit in a more canted forward riding position. Again, I didn't really ride it in traffic, so I don't know whether it will become super uncomfortable traffic. I think not. But also, Continental GT is the largest selling 650. So clearly, Royal Enfield guys put lots of weight in their wrists and they just don't care. In which case, you should be fine because this is nowhere close to that kind of committed.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So somewhat sporty, committed riding position.
I was going to reference R15, like, let's say
No,
most
nowhere
people.
close. I'm still saying these are all in the RS200 KTM RC zone. Handlebar,
then, okay.
current RC. Handlebar is up,
Nice
high,
and easy then.
relative to a sports bike. It is forward and low compared to the other Guerrilla.
Understood.
Okay, that's one change on the Apex. The other change we have to discuss for both the bikes are new tires.
Both bikes.
Both bikes. So Royal Enfield said, we got the same kind of feedback that you gave us also from other media houses, from customers, and we can't really understand what went wrong with that tire because in all the numeric sense, that tire does well. This is the Seat blocky tire.
Right.
So they've updated that tire, worked on it, and if I remember my numbers, 10% more dry grip, no, 17% more dry grip and 10% more wet grip.
Okay.
And they feel like it was the feel of the tire that was a problem, not the actual grip.
I remember us discussing this because the one thing when we discussed the Guerrilla the first time around, I remember you said everything that it's fine and this and that, and I specifically asked you how does it handle, and I remember you telling me it's fine, but it's just that the feel was not coming through.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't actually ride this motorcycle with the updated scrambler style tires. I don't know whether the thing is fixed or not, but I'll tell you this. In my experience, a motorcycle that in instrumented senses produces awesome results and you don't feel a thing, you can't ride it fast. You have to feel a thing. And on circles, you'll find a post about me riding a Hayabusa on the MRF racetrack. The reason I'm bringing it up.
Test track.
Did I say racetrack? Sorry, test track. And what I learned from them is even when they're developing a tire, a lot of feedback is non-instrumented subjective feedback. There is a guy who's riding the bike and saying, it feels okay, but it doesn't feel right. And that will change how the tire is built. It's still a subjective process. So when somebody says we mechanically think the tire is okay, but you can't feel a thing, it's not a problem that you can ignore. And I'm very happy that Seat and Royal Enfield have not ignored the problem. They've gone and done something about it. When we get this bike, we'll establish what it does as a result. Now, the other bike has Vredestein Centauro NSS. So this bike has always had 17-inch wheels. And now they've turned the Apex into a proper road-going sport naked, not some halfway house.
Right.
So you have a slightly scramblery, non-serious Guerrilla 450 and a reasonably more serious Guerrilla 450. But because it's a handlebar and a tire, you can basically do this all day long. All you have to do is buy one extra set of tires, not even rims, one extra set of tires and one extra handlebar.
Okay, so that makes it clear. Nothing to the suspension either.
Nothing has been done to the suspension. And again, we'll reference this. When you hit a largish bump on the Guerrilla, it actually manages pretty well because the baseline is still the Himalayan. So absorb, give you lots of jokes. No. What does it do badly? Slower speeds, smaller bumps. That is still the case. So on the road from Guwahati to Shillong, I don't want to keep saying Umiam Lake because then you'll have to go and Google it. It's the road to Shillong. Umiam is before Shillong. On this road, there are very few places where there are bumps. Every time you hit them at speed, they disappear, as expected. Every time you slow down and hit them, wow. If you look at the bikes that are perceived as motorcycles that do really good suspension, they are all soft stroked at the bottom. You have examples in your own fleet, Royal Enfield Himalayan, somewhat the classic 350, and so on and so forth. So if they were to take the Guerrilla and just soften the initial stroke and give it a sense of plushness and then don't adjust the rest of the suspension, this bike will start feeling sophisticated. Guess what the reference point would be?
For me, it's the KTM always.
That's it. This is what Bajaj has been doing. Okay, Öhlins discovered this trick. Let's make the initial stroke really soft. Everything will feel plush. Then we can do literally anything that we want as long as the bike doesn't misbehave. This will be perceived as a good setup. Showa learned it very quickly after that. KYB learned it after that. Now Endurance knows it. So everybody's doing it. So to me, if I were to be updating the Guerrilla, say 6 months down the line, what would I aim for? What would I hope for? A softer initial stroke so that all roads feel a little bit smoother. This bike is nailed it. You will not complain about the suspension again.
It's actually a great example because for all the performance that the 390 has, that initial plushness that it can offer you is actually, I remember when we rode it the first time out, I was a little taken aback with the new generation, thinking if it's this kind of softness, I mean, I would almost call it softness, knowing what the nature of the bike is, thinking, dude, what is it? How is it going to handle the hard braking and stuff?
And on the Himalayan, I mean, let's stay within the brand if you like. On the Himalayan, that's what blows you away on the test ride. The first thing, you get on that bike, you hit that pothole and say, my God, I can't feel a thing. It's not 200 mm of stroke. It's the first 25 of stroke that did all the magic.
Correct.
Backed up by very good suspension. Let's not take credit away from it. So, Guerrilla has a decent setup. It can feel a little bit sharp and jarring, especially on poor roads, especially at low surfaces. I did make a mistake. I went into, I think, what was like a truck check naka type thing with a weighbridge. And the road goes around the weighbridge. And I was busy. I don't know. I didn't see it. And I went into this. Then I'm like, oh, it's dirt and it's broken and it's potholes and slow. As soon as I became slow, all that smoothness that I had been enjoying on the Guerrilla went away. And as soon as I hit the road back 50 meters later, with one Meghalaya cop looking at me glaringly saying, bro, you got all the gear brand new back and you can't tell where the road is. The point is, I think there is minor room for improvement where I don't think the suspension is a poor setup, but I think it can feel even better than it is right now. What is remaining unfixed, unfortunately, is that herky-jerky throttle off the bottom. So, street mode is a gentler mode. I suspect it can be a whole lot gentler, like 30% more gentle, so that I can choose saying, I want the Guerrilla to behave and stay in the background today because I'm not up for a fight. And then I go to sport mode and say, dude, bring it. I am in the mood today.
So they haven't effectively changed the mode.
They haven't changed at all.
They've left it as is.
They have left it as is. So rolling out of the hotel, trying to get a sense of how do I open and what does the bike do? Oh, there is a little bit of unpredictability and moving around going on. Once you pick up speed, it sort of fades away and you don't think about it again. Now we come to the juicy part because that road, I have ridden that road before. I have driven on that road before. I have been driven on that road before. That road is epic. You know why? The Meghalaya hills aren't high hills. They have deep valleys. So you stay high and you go down. And therefore there is no climbing up and down involved. It's undulating land which appears to be mountainous because you're high up on the mountain. Get it? So there's no big elevation changes. There's no real need to put in hairpin bends anymore. So for the 60, 70 kilometers that I rode down and back, this road flows and has open-ended corners, open-ended corners, open-ended corners. Ooh, surprise, decreasing radius, open-ended corners, open-ended.
It's a good vision through.
Good vision through. I played vanishing points through the whole thing. So I had a sense of this is opening up. I can add more gas. It's closing down. And I didn't want to ride it like hell for leather. It's not that kind of road. There is traffic on this road. This road gets very slippery when it's wet. The tarmac is very good, unbroken, but when it gets wet, this road is also extremely slippery. I've been here before. So, accounting for all of that, I have ridden at what I would call the ideal pace for me, swift. Is it gentle? No. Do I have huge timelines and sightlines? Yes. Can I see that child beginning to cross the road and have like tons of space before I can brake and slow down to 30 km/h and let them decide what they want to do? Yes, that kind of riding. So it's not slow, but it is extremely calculated, very swift, and the Guerrilla just flows. It's just these tires. What that chassis ability is, these tires are complementing step for step. So you can barely make it make a mistake. You can make it make a mistake. I give you two examples, hardcore examples, very hard to replicate in the real world. If you can go into a corner, find a bump, and you can go inside the bump with the front and let the rear go over the bump, suddenly the length of the chassis sort of takes foreground. Not dangerous, not unsettling. It's just you have a sense of, and like a spring. It's cute because these tires don't give up quite easily. The Centauros are actually pretty good. So it's more entertaining than anything, but you can see the length there. If this was a shorter wheelbase, I suspect you won't feel it so much. So in that kind of situation, sometimes you can feel the length. Similarly, I was riding and it's Meghalaya, right? So it's covered in cloud, the whole thing. So I came out of Guwahati, some amount of watery sunshine that it was predicting heavy rain the next day. So please ride it today, please get your footage done, whatever. Some pressure was there. Dude, I crossed the border and it's great. And it stayed great till I came out the other side and there was some sunlight again. So it lived up to its name. But I was wondering, if it did rain when I took the U-turn and I had to do 70 kilometers in the wet on a road that I know becomes slippery in the wet, I'd like to have traction control.
Okay.
Right? Flying Flea has traction control.
What Flying Flea?
The Royal Enfield Electric that was announced at EICMA.
I've not heard about it.
It's called the C6. It's coming to MotorInc First soon. I can't give you any more details, but even that bike has traction control. I don't see why a motorcycle with this kind of performance, and it's not a slow bike. If you look at the footage, you will notice that I barely crossed 6,000 RPM at any point of time. Beyond that, there is performance. There's also some amount of vibration on this road. I just didn't feel like the need to use it. If you look at the speedometer on this bike, it's basically sitting from, I think, 84 to 101 or something indicated. And I promise I'm not looking down and governing the speed. It's what I think is feeling appropriate for this situation.
You know what? You've said this more than a couple of times now, where you've said you've ridden the bike according to what it wants.
Yes. It's a little bit too heavy, a little bit too long, and not sharp enough, in my view, for me to say, you know what, I'm going to take this bike and I'm going to cane it. A. B, if I wanted to do that, I would like to be at a racetrack. This is not the kind of machine that I would like to ride any harder than this on a public road. I'm saying there is a way to ride this bike that is super satisfactory, and that is 80%.
How different is that from your previous Guerrilla experience?
Smoother, more confident, more grip. 100% this bike is better. If I were buying a Guerrilla today, I would only buy the Apex. I'll just go back to the taller handlebar if I thought that this handlebar was too committed. I would not buy the scrambler looking tire at all. Because the Vredestein Centauros do a phenomenal job of grip. They complement this motorcycle really well. They look right. It looks like a normal sport naked, street naked, however you want to classify it. And I really did enjoy my ride. But is it sport naked? Oh, no. But is Royal Enfield ever going to make a motorcycle that goes, oh, no. So they're very much on brand. Right? Attendant bits, same switches as before. No adjustable switchgear on this motorcycle. And I don't remember if the previous one had or not. Circular TFT color with the map and all of that kind of thing. Seat is actually pretty decent on a ride like this, where you are a little bit at work. If you were to not be at work and sit upright a little bit more, we'd have to establish that the bike come. I really like the way the cowl is mounted to this bike. There's a bar across the bottom and it clips against the seat. It's a very secure, non-rattly way to do it. I like it. And of course, you can take it off and then it become a two-seater. I wish, because of this motorcycle, they hadn't welded the hangers for the foot peg on the motorcycle. So if you really wanted to run it as a proper two-seater, then you could take the foot pegs off.
Purely as a single-seater?
Purely as a single-seater. Today, it means you'll have to take a cutter of some sort and hack the foot peg hangers off.
Okay.
So overall, great road, great environment, good bike to ride it, especially at its pace. I loved it. Now, if I were in a more angry, more sporty mode, would I have chosen this bike to do it with? 50-50. So I think step forward for the Guerrilla. I definitely think that the Apex is going to be the bike to purchase. When you take a test ride, watch out for 3 specific things. One is the fueling right off the bottom. I don't think it's a deal breaker. I just think it's something Royal Enfield should just clean up and leave it out of it.
Can you describe a little bit more about what it's like through those corners?
Sure. Yeah, I will.
Because somewhere it's feeling. I'm not as convinced about
I'll come back to
emotion that you're actually expressing.
Let me just finish my point. I'll come back to your point. Okay, so when you're on your test ride, watch for the suspension on sharp bumps. Sharp being square edged. Okay, you're going to feel a thing. That's what it's going to do. There is some amount of latitude in the preload. You will be able to play with it as an owner, not maybe so much on the test ride. That's one thing to pay attention to. Okay, let me describe a segment to you. Okay. So you come down a straight, and most of the straights on this road are not vertically climbing too much or dipping too much. They're roughly flat, not exactly flat, roughly flat. You can usually work out quite early in the corner whether the corner is going to open up or not. So when you turn the motorcycle, it has a sense of length and weight, but not in terms of a hindrance, more in terms of this is the experience you signed up for. No stress. You are a little bit on the front end. There's a little bit more weight than the other Guerrilla has. So you do have a sense of feedback and connection in the sense of, I know there is enough grip, etc., etc. It's not a crisis at all. You commit, long wheelbase, stable, and by this point, you'll probably be 3000 RPM or above. You're really never coming down below that. in this kind of riding. In theory, you could, right? So if I'm in sixth, I probably would come down to third or fourth gear. I don't need to come to second and first. This has so much torque, you don't need to do it. So when you can see the way out of the corner and you pick up the throttle, you feel the Redesteins hooking up. You feel the bike beginning to lift. And if you listen, I'll try and put a footage piece right over this. You'll hear the engine kicking in, and its torque kicking in is not horsepower kicking. So the 40 Newton meters does a lot more work on this motorcycle, is far more satisfying to use than the 40 bhp on this motorcycle.
Okay.
And you pick up the motorcycle, and by this time you're probably already in sixth gear because there's no reason to hang around in third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? You're back in sixth. You're looking at the next straight. You see the corner. Let's assume that this is now a right turn corner, which is blinder because the median is on that side. The medians have bushes and stuff. So you check, is there anybody over your shoulder? Mirrors are okay this time. There's nobody there, which means you can do whatever you want. You go to the left edge of the road, increase your sight lines, commit, and if the vanishing point starts to go away from you, you roll the throttle on. It's just that once it gets to about 85, 90 on this road, I'm like, yes, I'm done.
Okay.
Do I really want to see 110 here? For the sake of testing science, yes, sure, I could. Did I feel the need to do it? No, it does so fine.
Okay, nice.
So I think the Sherpa feels smoother and nicer in this format than it does on the Himalayan in some ways. But the way the Himalayan chassis works, the Guerrilla is not in the same ballpark.
Could you clarify that a bit?
The Duke 390 engine and frame were born together. They grew up together, they went to the same school, fell in love, got married, had children. This is the fifth generation of that family. They were always 1 to 1 to 1. Example of difference, 200 Duke. Very powerful frame, smaller engine. So either you can take it as a lot of confidence, but it also gets you bored later because there's no balance. That balance, I think the Himalayan achieves better off. And it's almost like the Himalayan chassis does the big brother job of bringing the engine into the fold more nicely. But when you take it to a smaller motorcycle like Guerrilla, that sense of torque coming through, etc., the smaller wheels, the gearing, that clicks together better on the Guerrilla. You end up thinking that the Guerrilla is a slightly smoother motorcycle.
Smoother.
Slightly smoother. Not, it's not night and day. Slightly smoother motorcycle overall.
Despite feeling more grunty.
Despite feeling more grunty. Okay. So on this ride, where I've basically stayed between 3.5 and 6,000 RPM, my first impression of the Guerrilla was not vibration. My testing impression of the Guerrilla was vibration because then I would go below this RPM range, I would go above this RPM range, I would explore what this motorcycle does. And when I review my footage, it's 35 minutes of footage, after which I stopped recording. I didn't bother after that. I have explored and finished exploring and come back. And when I come back, I realized that, hey, 5,500 RPM is already 100 kilometers an hour. I don't need more than this. In this range, is there substantial, significant vibration that I need to report to somebody?
You know, now I get a sense of what the bike is like, and the more I think about it, and this will sound wrong, but I don't mean it that way. It feels like a generation old sport bike, in the sense
which
that
is perhaps, I think, exactly what Royal Enfield wanted to build.
Yeah.
And the reason why this has gotten off on the wrong foot is the first promo that they built, where they said metal is mental and plastic is not fantastic, or some nonsense like this.
Okay.
Okay. In my experience, when a manufacturer references somebody else's product to introduce their product, something has gone sideways.
Okay, I get that.
This is how the Dominar started out, if you think about it. Right? And now that shoe is sort of like on the other foot. And I'm telling you, the Guerrilla has come to a stage where I think if you were to call me and say, hey, I want a Guerrilla, I would not try to discourage you. I say, yeah, absolutely. Go get a test ride. Watch out for those two things. I think this is...
And I get it, because if it gets a little bit of that plushness in the suspension and a little bit of the smoothness, then it's in its absolute sweet spot, being its own identity.
Because Royal Enfield did not set out to make the 2026 Hypersport. They set out to build a 1990s super effective Hypersport. Got it. It's right there. I think another 3% is there.
Yeah, now I get it. Okay, nice. Okay.
That's it. And again, I would not touch the bike with the scrambler tires. I can get those tires later if I feel like.
Right.
I would buy the Apex as the superior solved thing, and then I can always go back to the other one if I feel like it.
Sure. Awesome. Okay. Anything else to be added?
No? Question from Saurabh?
Sorry, price?
It's roughly the same. I'll put up the prices. No major change.
No big difference in that. Nice. Do you know about these tires? Are they only available through Royal Enfield, or?
No, they are Centauros. As usual. You know, Karthik, I have so much context on tires now because of that MRF thing. I know we have to discuss this offline. But idea is that small mods would have happened to the stock Centauros to fit this motorcycle's role better.
Okay.
Okay, the one of the things that they will never change is the tread pattern, which is why we get confused when somebody says specifically built, because treads are really expensive to do. But changing the sidewall construction, etc., can be done. Not that much of a cost implication. Some changes. So, is this the exact Centauro that you get on the open market? No, it's not. But can you get a Centauro? Sure, anywhere.
Okay. Cool.
In theory, you could do that to a Guerrilla right now. If you have a Guerrilla right now, you could, in theory, go out and get these tires and you'll be okay.
Yeah, and then accessorize it with the handlebars and whatnot.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'd get to 85-90% of what this bike is now able to do.
Why 85-90%?
I mean, this is the major change, so you'll almost get there.
So in terms of the handling feel, and
In
all
terms
that,
of whatever the running changes have happened along the
that
way,
we
where
know.
they've changed a few things or whatever, those things obviously there's no way to replicate.
Okay. ठीक. Okay. QFC then.
Yes, we're going to skip ahead to questions from circles. If you're on the app, please stay. We're doing questions from circles. If you're not on the app, all of our videos have chapters. You can go back to the app or the website, open this video, skip ahead through the chapters to questions from circles. I expect this to be a slightly long session because a lot of clarifications will come there, a lot of how does this fit against various rivals, etc. Those kind of questions usually go and sit in questions from circles. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, Karthikeya is ready with his quick summary.
So yeah, those are the questions from circles. It's time for me to do the quick summary. Okay, this is the Royal Enfield Guerrilla 450 Apex that we're talking about. We're talking specifically about the Apex, but there has been an update to the regular Guerrilla, and I think that's a good point to clear up right up front, that the Guerrilla line has been split into two. The regular Guerrilla, the one that Shumi tested, the new one, which is the Apex.
You know, now when you put it like that, maybe they should just call it the commando, right? Like the regular soldier and like the special forces.
Okay, yeah. And they can't do commando.
Why not?
It's a taken name.
Arey, you do the interceptor thing, no? What was it? The interceptor was called the INT 650 in the markets where interceptor was trademarked or something, right? So you call this the Guerrilla CMND or something. Kya hai usme?
Okay, so back to the Guerrilla family. And so the old Guerrilla continues to exist. It has also received updates. Some of the technical ones we are not so clear about, I mean, in terms of the screens, but there seem to be some changes to the throttle maps, but those are not mentioned in the presentation
I
at
would
all.
actually phrase that as there are no significant changes to any of the core mechanicals of the motorcycle.
Okay. So there are no significant changes to the core mechanicals of the motorcycle. And moving on from that, what it does get is slightly tweaked tires, blocky tires that you used to get on the Guerrilla, which was one of the weak links on the bike the last time around in terms of the experience it created for you out on the motorcycle, considering that this is a street naked, you wanted a greater sense of connection. And that feel was something that was a little bit missing. The other thing that was a little bit missing there was also the smoothness from the engine. It used to get a little bit snappy when you're going on the gas, like at low speeds, and the suspension was firm. Now, these were the three things that were recognized as things that were taking the Guerrilla a little bit out of its sweet spot. Now, the Apex. The tires have changed for the standard Guerrilla. Now we're going to talk about the Apex. One of the big changes here are the tires. You're getting proper road style tires, not the scramblery tires. And therefore, what you're getting is a better sense of connection, a better sense of performance, and better sense of feel when you're doing everything. And one of the things when I was asking Shumi for a sense of feel was he described this going into a corner, you've gone from sixth down to maybe third. And then when you go on the gas, you can feel that torque and the grip coming from the tires as you power out of that. And that is a great thing because now you know that that sense of connection is being built. Mechanically, the bike has not changed in terms of its chassis, its suspension, its tune for its engine. But what has changed is the seating position because the bars now are set lower. And that means automatically you are going to get more feel from the front end. You are going to feel a little bit more involved because of that. And all of that seems to have helped because they were riding on these beautiful roads in Meghalaya. And they were, as Shumi said, chosen well to suit the Guerrilla because I think that's a really clever bit there. That the Guerrilla likes fast flowing kind of roads, not necessarily point and squirt kind of corners, but like the more flowy kind of roads. And there it works. And that's where Shumi drew that line between the Himalayan and the Guerrilla, saying that the size of the Himalayan has also defined what kind of a bike, what kind of a naked the Guerrilla ends up being like, which is in some senses a slightly old school flavor where it's not super sharp, super pointy, and super racy. It's a bike that you will enjoy riding quickly. Swiftly is the word that Shumi preferred to use, but not necessarily something that you want to ride ragged. So if you settle into that mood that the Guerrilla likes to be ridden in, it is a hugely enjoyable motorcycle. He did enjoy riding it, and he's made it clear that if you're buying a Guerrilla today, just pick the Apex. It's definitely the better bike. What it also has are a few accessories to distinguish it from the regular Guerrilla. It has a fly screen, a small little thing. It has a seat cowl for the pillion seat, which can also be removed easily, so that can go back to being a two-seater. But the one thing he did not like was that the pillion foot pegs are actually welded on instead of being bolted on. So if you wanted that clean look as a single seater, you'll have to cut those off if you want to go that way. But aside from that, that's the Guerrilla. Prices are pretty much the same as what it is for the regular Guerrilla. And yeah, I think what we said was, if the suspension, that was one of the things that needed to be fixed, if it got a little bit more softness in the initial phase, it would become not just a more kind motorcycle to ride, it would become a more enjoyable motorcycle for more conditions.
Yes.
And aside from that, when you're talking about the throttle, that also pretty much feels the same, which means it can feel snatchy when you're at low speeds. So it's that mood that you end up finding that you have to kind of get used to that feeling. But other than that, an enjoyable motorcycle. And how many percent did you say is remaining for it to really get into its sweet spot?
If I had all the latitude in the world to fix the Guerrilla, I'd just want the softer stroke. I'd want the smoother throttle at low openings, and I'd want the street and the sport mode to be separated further. Ideally, with the street mode becoming even more calm. Like, I want this bike to be sleepy in street mode.
You know, I get completely, because when you were describing all of that, what was running in my head in the background was the first time you rode the FJs or the XJs. It was, you enjoyed that experience, right? And those had stupidly soft suspensions. So there was a quirk in those. But you get the mood, and that's the mood that I was kind of getting into. I would like it to be a little bit softer, then I'd have a zone in this bike.
Yeah. So street mode, sport mode can be as aggressive as it needs to be. You want to turn up the aggression even further, sure, let's do that. But street mode has to become calmer. So I can say, I have lots of energy right now. I am going down towards Shillong. I want to go, and I know there's no traffic on this road, so it'll be fine. But now I'm exhausted on the way back because I don't know, I'm not young enough to have Red Bull or whatever, right? I'm on the way back, and I don't want to put so much energy.
I want to look around.
I want to look around. I go into street mode, I settle down, and I just take this motorcycle out of the foreground of the experience and say, hey, Guerrilla, take it easy, stay in the background, and we have fun. We'll get there together.
I honestly, this time around, I have an idea of what the purpose of this motorcycle is. You can see that it's there. The previous time,
yeah, so it has sort of come into focus. 100%, you're absolutely right.
Nice.
And that's why when I started to ride swiftly on this road, and Swift has an element of smoothness and an element of being rapid. It's not herky-jerky, it's not unplanned. I'm working through, I'm giving the motorcycle a moment, I'm taking a moment to work out things. I'm not committing and saying, oh crap, there's no herky-jerky going on. When you do that, ooh, those tires, that handling, the feel, yes, it makes sense.
Good reason to do the MF, 100%. Awesome. What's next?
So, okay, I'm not sure in which order these MotorInc First are coming out. So there is a Flying Flea C6 and the Guerrilla 450. You're watching the Guerrilla 450. Either the Flying Flea C6 has already happened or it will happen. So Triumph 350s. I don't know again whether we are riding the Speed 350 first, the Scrambler 350X next, which order when they'll come out, but that's on the agenda. I believe
You're also waiting for prices of the Aerox, right?
We've also ridden the Yamaha EC06, which should already be on MotorInc First, and the Aerox Electric, we've ridden it, and the price has not come out, so that's supposed to happen also. So this is what we know so far, but it is looking like a super busy year because a lot has changed. The GST laws means a lot of bikes have to be revised. There's an incoming ABS law that means a lot of bikes will have to change. There is a danger that CAFE norms will come for the two-wheelers, and a lot of guys are reorganizing their current product lines to accommodate still a fairly nebulous requirement for the CAFE. So this is going to be a fairly troublesome year in the sense of lots of travel, lots of bikes, lots of sitting in the studio, lots of questions from circles, lots of telling you to come to the app and the website. And that's a good thing.
Well, if you have any more questions, you know where you can find us. We'd love to see you on the app. As always, we'll have the conversations there. Everywhere else, we'll get to your comments and we'll answer them for sure. And yeah, well, that's it. If you have any more questions, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching.